Okay, today's video is about remarketing funnels and how you can set one up to literally double the output of any ad campaign or any traffic that you're driving to your site currently. So if you're making $1,000 a day from your current advertising efforts, you can make $2,000 a day once you get this whole marketing system, remarketing funnel going for your business already. Yes, it really is this effective. And if you do this method and you aren't making twice as much money once you've instituted this for a few months to really see it fully work for you, you can come back to me and I'll work on your campaign personally for free to make sure it does. Because that's how damn confident I am in this strategy. This strategy I've used dozens and dozens of times now, and I also use it for my own advertising firm. You want to see a perfect example of this in practice? Go to my site at guaranteedppc.com and then watch all the ads that are going to show up for you. I even go beyond what this shows. I do 20 different ads that show up for people after they've been to my site. You can go with half that approach and still double your sales easily. And this is a method that once you put the work in, it runs automatically for you after that. So yeah, and it's not even that big of a job to get this done originally. Yes, it's going to take you probably 10, 20 hours to plan the whole thing out and then have someone design your ads, but then it's done. So anyway, with that said, I'll explain exactly how to do this to double your sales on the traffic you have coming into your site. Remarketing, for the most part, is about getting traffic you have coming into your site now to convert better. A lot of people get this mixed up. They think the remarketing in and itself is a sales vehicle, and it's not, and I'm going to explain why. So anyway, with all that said, I will go into the content here. Most people's idea of remarketing, forget even doing a funnel. They're just simply going to run maybe one boring ad that just says what everybody else says in your entire space, so there's no differentiation point. And they're probably running a responsive display ad if they're doing it through Google's system, which looks like every other ad out there, which is not, in other words, not running a banner ad. And then ram that single ad down the freaking throats of their prospects to get them to buy. Just beat them over the head again, over and over and over again with that message to buy from them. Nobody wants to see that, including yourself. So I don't know why people are doing it. Well, I do know why. It's because they're lazy. They don't want to. People want to put as little work as they can on their ad campaign and expect a whole ton of results. And it doesn't work that way. What the consumer wants isn't the same message that everybody else got. There's nuances to that. Even though what this I'm saying here can work for all prospects coming to your site, there's nuance to this so that you're speaking to because different people have different concerns. If you want to make a lot of money with a remarketing funnel and with your traffic you paid good money to get to your site in the first place, you got to speak to the individual concerns and nuances as to what individual types of customers have or prospects have to settle them so that you end up monetizing that traffic you brought to the site at a decent rate. Some people don't buy because they don't trust you yet. Some people don't buy because they think a competitor's is better than your product or service yet. Some people don't buy because basically they they don't know enough about your company yet. So some people don't buy because they don't think your product or service can work for their specific application. So with all this said, there's different reasons why people don't buy. You could go talk to your salespeople and ask them what's the most common questions that come up during the sales process, if you do sales like that is. And they'll tell you what they are. Your goal, if you were to do nothing else for your remarketing, to make a separate ad that settles each one of those concerns for a prospect, you'd be able to make a ton of money. Even though that isn't everything, some people just don't buy because they don't trust you, and there's certain things in your remarketing can basically get everybody to trust you. Because the thing about it is, it literally costs about a penny to have an ad show up for somebody you paid to get to your site in the first place. And so you literally can have 10 different ads show up for them 10 different times each, and it costs you $1 to do that. And that dollar will get you twice as many people, twice as many sales out of that person than you would have got otherwise. Because you basically forced them to understand the things that would have normally caught them up and held them back from a sale. And basically, if you're assuming your site should have did that for them already, a lot of people just aren't going to see it all the first time they come to your site. And a lot of people aren't going to interact with you. They're going to have a prejudice against your company. You didn't even get a chance to explain that you don't have that. But with the remarketing, following them around everywhere they go on the internet, so basically 100% of the people that come to your site will be able to see your remarketing ads if you run your remarketing campaign funnel here. You're guaranteed to get the key things across to the people that would have normally held them back from a sale, which is why you're going to double the sales that you get from the traffic you're already driving to your site once you've already done this for your company. So a much better approach than taking one ad and shoving that ad down people's throats like the typical person wants to try to do because they don't want to put much work in. A much better approach is to do multiple ads that focus on the consumer's real concerns, because this is what the actual consumer wants from you. Remarketing done the correct way is a lot more like, if you've heard of push versus pull marketing, it's a lot more like pull marketing than it is push marketing. So instead of asking people to buy and force, bothering them over and over again, if you put helpful messages inside your remarketing ads, it's actually educating the consumer so they want to do business with you. Totally different approach, and it flips the whole model on its head if you do it the correct way. And that's why it doubles your sales. So you can use this method to either get profitable. So if your ads aren't profitable yet, you can institute this. It will double your ROI. Or if you're already profitable, this could put you in a position to spend twice as much on ads, or scale your ad campaigns that you have more, if you were able to scale without becoming unprofitable before. So obviously it could go help either situation depending on which one you're in. So with all that said, here are the types of ads that, for example, you could run. Now you could tweak this, but this is a typical funnel that I would set up for a client or set up for a company that I also own or impart owners in from the start to squeeze out every bit of value of every visit that I'm driving to the site. So your goal always is with online marketing is find somebody who's an absolute home run prospect and do everything you can with your initial ads to get them to your site, because you know they're already a home run to market to. And then try everything on your site to convert them as possible, but 80% of the people aren't going to be ready to buy instantly, so and then you are going to institute this really good remarketing funnel system to get twice as many of that 80% to buy from you than they would have otherwise come back on their own recognizance, or basically or that one remarketing ad that asks them to buy, showing that to them over and over again. So anyway, what is these ads that I would need to run to double my sales? So there's actually 11 ads here that I've shown. And this is very close to the type of system I would normally just use by default. I'll tweak it depending on the market and depending on the type of customer base. Some people, the more the issue is, I don't trust you. So we would focus our ads more on instilling trust in our prospect. Some markets, there's no issue with trust. It's just, how do I know this product will work for me? I know it works for other people, but will it work for me? And then we'll focus on that there might be 5 different use cases of why customers buy, and then we'll have more ads that focus on it works for this use case, it works for this use case, it works for this use case, and so forth. So you'll have to tweak it a little bit for your market to get the full value out of it. But even if you were to not get that sophisticated, you should still be able to double your sales, even if you were to use this basic funnel here. So to explain each one of these ads, you would start out with a regular ad like asking people to buy. Pretty simple there. But that's only one piece of the 11-piece puzzle here. Second ad, so the idea is that they see that ad, that's nice. The next ad they see, later that day or the next day, they see a testimonial from a customer. Okay? Then they think that looks nice. The next day they see another ad that has your Google reviews on it, saying, I got a 4.8 rating on Google, which goes to instill trust. The next day they see an ad that has your top concern that people have as to why they're not buying from you right now, talking to your, from what that you've heard from your salesperson that I talked about before, or, through email, where people are asking questions through email. And you need to quash that objection. So if people buy because they don't think they're going to get it in time, and you have 2-day shipping, explain that you'll get it in 2 days. If that's your top concern. If other times that they don't buy because they don't think that, they don't know it's the top quality product, sometimes you are going to, just come up with your own thing. We have a 10-year warranty. Then put that into the ad. We have the top quality, or whatnot. Then you see another ad the next day, which has the second most highest objection that customers have as to what's holding them back from buying from your product or service from you. So you would do that. And then the next ad they would see would be a social proof ad. So where is it that you've got an article written about your company, or you've been interviewed on a podcast, you've been featured in a magazine or mentioned in a magazine, or you've been mentioned on social media by a customer, which that mention on social media has a lot of shares on it, and you frame that in an ad so that people think, wow, they've been mentioned in Forbes magazine, and it gets them to, it's just each one of these things and gets them a little bit closer to a purchase. And then each ad that it's supposed to instill trust, just overall their perspective of you is just higher and higher and higher each time. So I usually throw one of those ads in there. And if you don't have that, it's not that hard to get featured by somebody. Reach out to some people that are writers and get them to feature you, or reach out to get interviewed on a podcast. The fact that you're willing to put yourself out there as a business owner, it says a lot, because basically, if you were a scam, you wouldn't be willing to usually put your face out there to the world. That's the general idea. But anyway, you get my point there. Next ad they would see would be another testimonial. So see a testimonial, later on they see another one. Next ad, scarcity offer. So part of getting a good return from the people that you drive to your site is to build urgency / scarcity. So you do everything you can to get that person who wants to buy new paint for their house that's in market. Some people are going to buy right away. Some people will potentially buy it later when they get paid or whatnot. And then if you have an ad that shows up for them later saying, we're offering 10% off all wall paint for 4th of July weekend, that ad will get them to stop procrastinating and buy. Because if you let people to their own devices, even if they have good intentions to buy from you later, shit happens. The money gets spunked on something else. Somebody else makes a similar offer to them maybe. They forget about it. Whatever. So the sooner you can get the money from the prospect, the more of it overall you're going to get from the people that are still mulling it over or waiting to make their purchases. So you throw an ad in there, and that rakes out people that are on the fence. The problem is they don't know if they should buy from you yet. They're just putting it off because they don't want to do the purchase right now for whatever reason. Anyway, the next ad they would see after that would be an About Us. Talk about your company itself. How long you've been in business. Do you have an A+ BBB rating? You could throw that in there, technically, if you would want to. But how long you've been in business? Is it a USA-made product? Show a picture of your facility if you have a big facility. If you have a service company, show all your trucks, all your staff standing there next to them so they know, wow, this is a big legit company. It helps settle some nerves. Next ad would be a financing offer. So I don't know what's going to happen by the time you see this video, but right now interest rates are really high. If you can offer 0% financing, that's a big, big benefit to people right now. With interest rates being over 5% right now at least. But even when interest rates were low, our clients were doing well offering in-house financing at 0% for the first 18 months. Because usually you can't get 0% financing anyway at their bank. So if the issue is that they don't have the money quite yet, then you take care of that issue for them. You see how each thing does a little bit each thing that might be stopping the person, you have different ads dedicated for taking it out. And then the next day they would see, for the final ad, the competitor comparison. Sometimes they don't buy because they're not sure which competitor to buy from yet, you or somebody else in your market. And if you could put together a buyer's guide, if you will, that, not really a buyer's guide per se, even though if you wanted another great ad to run, a buyer's guide that says, here's how to buy wall paint and know you're making the right decision. That would be one great thing for the customer. But for the most part, it's not that important. The important thing is that you outline, if you could compare your wall paint to the other competitor's wall paint and put that into a side-by-side comparison where you explain, this one's a little thicker than the other, this one doesn't run as much, whatever, you could do that comparison for them, assuming your product was actually better than theirs. It wouldn't really work if it wasn't. But if you can do that for them, then it's no longer a mystery as to which one to buy anymore. You buy yours. And so you could put a guide like that, a small guide that goes over you versus your direct competitors, put that into an ad. And so that full funnel, if you want to call it a funnel, really it's not really a funnel, it's a shotgun blast of information that gets pieced out over time and spoon feeds the customer on all the things that they need to know, force feeds them, if you will, all the things that they need to know to make you the most familiar, trusted company in your space. Because ultimately, what happens when you do this, if your competitors don't do this, they just think they know more about you than the competition at that point. And whoever they feel the most comfortable with is who they're going to usually buy with. Of course, some people buy only the cheapest one, but the other half buy from whoever they think is the most authoritative and best company to deal with, because it's the less risky. So if you do all this, they're going to think you're the most familiar company. And then when the day comes, because there's usually, if people didn't buy the first time they hit your site, there's a day where they say, damn it, I can't put off buying this paint anymore. My wife's, bitching about, I haven't bought this paint yet. Who am I going to buy it from? The first person, when you've done this, is going to be you that they think about. And then therefore, because they think of you first, they're going to think you're the most authoritative person in your space. Therefore, they're just going to buy from you. So what you really are doing is you're putting in the footwork. So when they're ready to buy, you're the person they buy from 80% of the time. That's really what you're setting up with all this. It's not to have them say, ooh, great, you have a great big staff. I'm buying right now. Let me whip out my wallet. It's not that at all. And this is where people get mixed up on this. This is the main reason why people don't do this. None of your competitors in your space, even though they saw you do this, even though they saw my video here, they would still say it's a waste of effing money, because if I run this, my conversion tracking and my ad accounts on Google, on Facebook, whatever, it doesn't show a high rate of people clicking through the ad and buying right away. Therefore, it doesn't work. Therefore, I'm not doing it. My analogy I always give for this is to say, if somebody who sees a review about your company didn't work, and you're saying it didn't work because people didn't see the review and then didn't instantly click through the ad to buy, no billboard out there works, no TV ad out there works, no radio ad out there works. Of course, some people that see a TV ad can race right up onto your site and buy. It's not impossible, but It's ridiculous to think that if the person doesn't buy immediately after they see your ad, that it doesn't work, because that's not the way that it is. You could let your competitors think that, because people have gotten spoiled nowadays. They think with online ads, because you could track it, that everything has to show a return right away, or it's a waste of time. The great return comes from the stuff that doesn't show a return right away, actually, because it's not competitive. Everybody else wants an instant return. This gets a return, it's just not instant. And we're not talking about taking a long time, but after somebody comes to your site, remarketing to them like this for the next 60 to 90 days, the sales start trickling in. And so remarketing funnels like this are it's a lot more like branding advertising than it is hoping to get a response from my ad right away, click through the ad and buy right away. The value is in what it's going to do to the people that have came to your site before, do down the line. So each ad progressively gets them a little bit closer to a purchase, and really, one ad doesn't do the job, but the combination of all the ads, if you will, makes them twice as likely to buy from you if they didn't buy right away when they hit your site, so to say. So that's what you need to think about it like. You're really just branding yourself as the top person in your space. So if they didn't quite want to buy right away, or didn't quite get that they should buy from you right away when they got to your site the first time, if they get it once all these ads are running, and it's so, it's all automatically running for you in the background, why would you not want to do this? Especially with the results it provides, obviously. So the more expensive a product or service you offer, the longer you want these ads to run, by the way, too. If you're selling a $20 broom, you run it for a week and you're basically done already. If you're selling a new house, I'm running this for 1.5 years, because Google allows that, Facebook don't, but I'm going to run it for the maximum amount of time, because people are thinking it over a long time. And then, obviously you're probably selling something in between a new house and a new broom, so you just have to figure out what's the sweet spot there, and you could kind of test it out for yourself. But for the most part, around 6 months is what I'll typically do for a client in a company that I run and own, to squeeze out all the value from all the prospects we got to the site. And what we'll do, what you should do as well, is you should do a mixture of different sizes of the ads. So, and first of all, I would do Google ad remarketing through Google Display Network. I'd do YouTube ads remarketing, and I would do Facebook ads remarketing. If you're going to do Google Ads Display Network remarketing, you want actual banner ads, not the responsive display ads that look like dog shit and everybody else is using because it's easier. Real banner ads. And then you're going to make the banner ads in at least 7 different sizes. So if a person really only goes to 1 or 2 sites, that you're guaranteed to get shown on those sites for those people. So you get 100% coverage to all the prospects that you want to get your ads in front of. And then of course formats, do different formats. Do banner ads. You can also throw some text ads in there if you want, that show up for people across the web after they've been to your site. Also do some video remarketing ads. The video will help you out tremendously, because there's things you can communicate and emotionally to the user that you can't do with just a straight banner ad. But, and of course I said different platforms. Actually as many platforms as you can. If it seems appropriate for your brand, I'd also add LinkedIn remarketing and or TikTok remarketing and or Twitter remarketing as well to get maximum exposure, because the idea here is I don't want to miss anybody, since this is so powerful and it gets people to buy at such a higher rate that if a person only goes to Twitter, I don't want to miss my opportunity to get these ads in front of them there. So really it's just taking the same message, repackaging it up for each platform, so it's just said the same way no matter what platform they're on. Now obviously the ads have to be formatted differently, but the same message fundamentally is just the same on every platform that you're going to remarket on. And of course YouTube, but that's tied to Google Ads. So to sum it up, you got your Google Display Network, YouTube ads, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads if you want the most out of this. And then the last kind of major point here to make is a better message will beat better design hands down every day of the week. So in other words, even if you had no ability to get someone who can make a banner ad well, which by the way, that's trickier than you think. Even good designers that are normally good at like making websites, making a little banner ad and getting everything crammed in there that you need to get in there, that's difficult. Most designers, by the way, you ask them to make banner ads, they won't even do it because it's so tedious. But even if you like literally had to make the ad yourself and all you had was the ability to put black text on a white background, that would still be better than 99% of the other dog shit ads that other people use out there that says, buy our flower delivery service, which adds zero value to the user, which they know they could get flowers delivered any time of the week by going to the Google. What you're here doing, which is why the sales are going to go up for you once you institute this, you're offering information that they didn't necessarily know or have, and that's more importantly directly relevant to them at the time because you know they're in market for what you're selling, and you're just helping them make the decision that they had to make anyway easier, which is why you're going to make more sales. And anything you do to make the consumer's job easier at buying online when you're trying to sell online is going to make you more sales. So you don't have to do any tricks, try to trick the user into buying. All you got to do is make it easier for them to decide to buy than anybody else in your space, and you'll be rich. So so with all that said, don't, for the sake of making a pretty ad, stray away from focusing on the message. It'd be ideal if you could make the ad look slick and get the message on there and have the message be still the focus of the ad. But even if you had to sacrifice one or the other, you certainly don't want to sacrifice the message and the information itself. The message itself is 99% of what is going to get you the increase in sales. So the design is basically optional, even though it's kind of nice to do the design well so you don't look like, it doesn't affect the image of your brand. To make your brand, not look like a pile of shit, try to get a decent designer to make your ad, but at the end of the day, you'll still make more sales than you're making now. Having a good message on for the most part, not impressive looking ad. We'll just say that. You don't want to look terrible because then that will kind of take away from your brand and take away the benefit of doing this. But so just an average design, we'll say. Even though I still would try to get the best design I can, because that's also going to help even more. It'll help you even more than just having a good message. Having the design great and having the message great, and then be on the same level for both. So anyway, with that said, that's the model that you go with if you want all the traffic coming into your site now to convert into sales at twice the rate. You're not going to see people clicking through the ads and then purchasing the way that you would want to, but I promise you the sales are going to be there if you're patient. Once you get this instituted for your business, compare the sales that you get over the next 90 days to the 90 days directly before that, and that lift in sales that you get from that 90 days, the previous 90 days, or at least the 90 days the previous year. So in other words, if you're going to start March, look at sales for March, April, May for moving forward versus March, April, May the year before. If you're in a seasonal type business where things fluctuate normally, throughout the year sales-wise, and you'll see that the sales are there. They're not going to show up in the direct metrics of your campaigns because these ads are meant to educate, not invoke action right away, even though some of them would. The one that says 4th of July weekend, we're running a promo, use July 4th, 1, 2, 3 during checkout to get 10% off your order. You might see some people certainly clicking through that one and buying, but most of them aren't invoking direct action. It's actually quite the opposite. When you're saying we have these Google reviews, it's just like, hey, did you know we have good Google reviews? And that's it. They might decide to buy right away, but most people are not going to click on that ad and buy right away, even though it works. And It's actually, I love the fact that you can't see the conversions come through, the leads and sales come through this mechanism, because it stops not only my competitors from doing it, but all the competitors and all the businesses that I run and or manage doing it. I always see all the time when I'm auditing ad accounts. They'll try remarketing for a little bit, they don't see the return, and then they shut it off. Little do they know, there's something that it's been universally true for decades. Frequency is more important than reach in marketing. Meaning, you'll make more money spending your money marketing to fewer people more times than to marketing every person only once. That's always been true. And it's still true today. Especially true as it comes to online ads, given the cost to follow somebody up is actually cheaper than it is to market to them the first time. You're not talking about like sending a letter out in the mail and the follow-up letters cost the same as the initial letter. No, the follow-up literally cost 1/100th or 1,000th of the price that the initial follow-up did. So it's even more so. So it's generally 7 to 12 times somebody's got to see your marketing message before they take you seriously. So you're just marketing it to them once on Google or on Facebook and then expecting them to buy right away, and if they don't, fuck off. I mean, that's a really dumb idea, at least as people that are really in the know in the marketing space have known about for a long, long time. But there's a lot of people that do their own marketing that don't understand this concept, or people they hire who don't understand marketing. They're just, took the Google Ads certification, so they think they're experts and they don't know their ass from a hole in the wall. But that's the reality. This is why it works, so to say. And the fact that the follow-up needs to be there to get a good return from a prospect, and the fact that you're going to have information that helps them and that your competitors aren't doing this follow-up. So I'll wrap it up with that. Though. If you liked the video, I have a ton of other content on this channel about other money-making PPC strategies. If you want to make millions of dollars with your ads, you should subscribe and check out my other content, as all the strategies that I'm giving you here are all strategies I found that work on our clients' accounts, and I'm in the trenches doing this on an ongoing basis. I manage dozens of ad accounts on an ongoing basis to find out what works, and when I find something that works, I give it to you here on this channel, as well as the stuff to stay away from. All the rest of these fakers who just do YouTube full-time and they don't have an agency like I do, or they're managing just a few accounts, they're not giving you the same quality of information as I'm offering you here, telling you this is the best you're going to find on YouTube. With that said, if you like the channel, you can find my blog at GaryTPPC.com/blog. If you have any questions about anything I covered today, or any other PPC related questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. Be happy to hear from you. And with that said as well, if you're struggling to make more money from your ads or just don't have time to do them, my agency specializes in guaranteed results. And what that looks like is, if you're making $5,000 a month now on your ads and you want to take it to 10, I'll help you take it to 10 without charging you a single dime up front to get you as a long-term client at our agency. Because we know our stuff works. The catch is that our rates aren't cheap, but they're worth it. The value is there. We don't work with every single client out there, but I'd be happy to look at your stuff and see if I can give you a boost initially, enough to where whatever we're charging will be covered by what you make up front. Nobody else is doing this. And turn it into a long-term relationship. And actually, if you have a product or service, by the way, that's good enough, I'm willing to partner with you directly and take a percentage of your sales growth into the future. I've done this with several companies now. I'm part owners of several e-commerce businesses, and we're looking to do this with more companies at this time. So that said, though, I'll wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you then. See you later.